This episode of UDSP is brought to you by GameBreaker.tv/deals. If you're pre-ordering WildStar and if you're watching the show and you haven't yet, get on it. GameBreaker.tv/deals. Pre-order and get 20% off.
GameBreaker TV.
Internet, and welcome to UDSP episode 40 for March 26th, 2014. You're watching GameBreaker. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, and today lots of PvP info. We get a look at the first Battleground, and we discover what's in the box. What's in the box, Justin? What's in the box? All that and more, but first, joining me today, Justin Kennedy. How are you, sir?
I'm ready for some boxes.
What's in the box? Now, see,
Shinies.
now I'm going to have to go and watch 7 after this. What's in the box, man? Just such a great movie. I couldn't resist it when that was the tagline. So yeah, PvP, huge focus. Farhan couldn't join us today. Tied up at the airport. We wish him well. Hope he gets home safe and moderately on time with the delays and everything. So we will see him next week. Justin has graciously agreed to step in and help me out with the PvPs because, as you all know, I could describe PvP, but I'm just not good at the damn stuff. So it's a PvP week at Carbine with videos, articles, AMAs. We've had them today. Justin, you posted a huge thing on the forum. How'd the AMA go, kind of just overall?
I mean, they filled out some of the basic information for everybody, so I think they alleviated some questions, some concerns, and laid out the floor for launch.
Well, lots of stuff we already knew about, right? I mean, and we had talked about previously on this show so far. Cross realms, the PvP was going to be cross realms, battlegrounds and arenas. There was going to be ranked and unranked mode, and we showed the dev speak on the battlegrounds prior to the show just to catch everybody up. So whatever you do, you'll get PvP vendor currency. That's what the prestige. The rankings, but there are specific ranked rewards. Now, a lot of people have nostalgia for a time when Cross-Realm maybe wasn't the norm. Are you one of those guys, Justin? Where it's your server and the community, and do you buy into that whole thing?
I once was. There's that nostalgic feeling of knowing the people you're playing with and against, and having that tight, close, like, just being able to beat them and then rag on them.
See, I prefer the make it cross realms. That way there's very, very small chance I will run into these people again because I'm cannon fodder in PvP. But that's okay. I still enjoy it. It's fun. So
you go for cross realms so that people don't look at you and go, "He's on our team again?"
Exactly. You know, it's like, oh shit, here comes the body drag. And then it's going to be even worse in WildStar, right? Because it's a shared pool. We'll talk about that in a little bit in one of their modes. And so, God, as soon as they saw my name, Vote to Kick would immediately be popped up there. So WoW was never really set up to be a PvP game, but there were server rivalries, Crossroads, Tar and Mill, and I can see a point where the Cross Realms kind of does away with that type of stuff. So there is a lot of nostalgia there. If anyone was going to bring that type of feel back, like the South Shore, Crossroads, Tar and Mill stuff, I would have thought it would have been WildStar, right? They've kind of hit the nostalgia hammer for old school World of Warcraft fans all the way, and then just kind of took a page out of current MMO books for this one. It seemed a little odd to me, or maybe I'm just nuts.
I think they definitely go after the nostalgia feeling when we come to raids and stuff like that, but at the same time, they're very much aware of this is a new century. This is a new time for gaming. We're not 10 years ago. So they make some sacrifices there and said better matches is probably better overall for people.
Yeah, and I mean, non-cross realm works best, obviously, when the servers are full. So at launch, it wouldn't have been a problem anyway, right? But it would have been like a few months down the road when you have that usual, there's that group of people that moves on to the next shiny, and then the WildStar faithful that are staying there. Then they're wishing for it to be cross-realm. So I guess, I can't really blame them for doing this right off the bat. It alleviates changes they'd probably end up having to make later down the road anyway. Do you prefer, so we got Battlegrounds and we've got arenas. Which do you prefer? You're a huge PvP guy. That's like what you do in MMOs. So is there one that you prefer over the other? Why? Because to me, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
I actually prefer the Battlegrounds.
Ooh.
Because of the secondary objectives that exist inside of them. And arenas is just it's not there. You have one objective, and that's to kill the enemy.
So you must have like shrieked for joy during the dev speak when there were multiple objectives and capture points and then secondary points as well. You must have been just like giggling like a little schoolgirl watching that damn thing. Should we be concerned about specific rank rewards?
I don't think we're going to be concerned about specific rank rewards. The only thing...
Justin has frozen on me.
You have to peek here from Battlegrounds at all.
All right, say that up again. Your internet froze a little bit there.
So, you will. The most thing to worry about is gear, and you will not be able to get the top tier PvP gear from Battlegrounds at all. Only arenas and warplots.
Interesting. Now, we did get a peek at the first Battleground, Walatiki Temple. So I'm going to show some pictures here while we chat about this. Have you gotten a chance to play this map at all? I mean, we're both in beta and have been for a while. Have you been in here?
Yes, I've gotten to play this one.
Oh, tell us about it, because right now we're looking at the sky's eye picture of the crosshatch bridges over the crater in the center.
Yeah, I mean, the basic concept here, you get at this temple, the Walatiki, is to capture these tiki masks, like you would a flag, and to return it to your base and get points. I think it's the first person to 5, or first person to 5 of them captures, wins the match. Or until the time runs out, whoever has the most at that time. And you've got different levels, upper level, bottom level, some caves on the side, and you just duke it out throughout the match.
Now, this landscape looks like it'd be kind of a nightmare when you've got a bunch of people doing telegraphs, which is exactly what they're going for. I mean, if you watch the dev speak, that's what they're looking for. They want, a ton of people running around with telegraphs just freaking everywhere on the map. And this looks like it would definitely do it, forcing everybody into either the high road across the bridges or the low road through the crater right in the middle. Was it as hectic as you were expecting PvP to be in WildStar?
If you had asked me this a couple months ago, or even a month ago, I would have told you that this was an absolutely horrendous fight to have to deal with all those abilities going across the ground and stuff and hitting you.
Right.
There was no room at all to move around, really. It felt just like a huge cluster annoyance of attacks.
So that was a month ago. Have you changed your opinion then, I'm taking it?
Yes. So the recent
now, is that because you're
map,
getting better at the game, or is it did they actually make changes that you're like, okay, that's a better change?
They actually changed the entire map basically. Originally, there was the outer edge, which you just run around, kind of like a circle around it, and then you had the upper level and the bottom level. And the bottom level was closer in together. There was less room down there, and that's all the map was. You were you on one side, your enemy on the other, the upper and bottom, and that's basically the entire map is what it was. And it was 10 people versus 10 people. It was just too small, so they made the changes to it. They opened up and flattened out that bottom part a little bit more. They added in cave systems on both sides, one cave system on both sides that go into the capture area of each team. And then they also made it so that you have 2 exits coming out of your spawn point instead of 1, so you can't be spawn camped there as easily. And it just opened up It made everything feel much more alive and actually gave you more opportunities for one-on-one, two-on-two, two-on-one, smaller fights here and there, which those actually are really fun.
Now this is capture the flag, right?
It is capture the flag, sort of,
'Cause
except for you're
that's my
doing more.
favorite PvP game mode. I'm with you that I don't like the whole deathmatch thing. It's just because I'm bad at it. But when you give me at least some chance with some objective, I can normally sneak a flag back to a spawn point every once in a while. Not gonna happen every match. Not gonna happen every match. But I can do it every once in a while. Are you capture the flag, baby?
I am not traditional capture the flag, but
Oh,
this
see, but
gives
WildStar is changing you, Justin.
It's
changing
not traditional
you.
though. It's not just capture the flag. That's what's nice about it. It's capture the flag, defend your flags, or go steal your enemy flags.
So they're mixing it up a bit. It's not just the traditional grab cap, go back and repeat it 3 times.
Yes, because even if you capture it, it doesn't mean you can hold. You have to hold on to it, so the enemy can come through. They can take your flag and go turn it into theirs if they want.
All right, so let me ask you the big question then. How does this compare to Hotball? Because that was it. Capture the Flag fans loved Hotball. Star Wars players, Old Republic players loved Hotball. Even if you hated the game, you probably liked Hotball if you jumped in and you were a PvP hound. So how does this compare to something like Hotball? Because to me, I got to give the edge to WildStar on this one, and it's just because Hotball has a certain dynamic to me that it feels a bit chaotic, which is good. That's a good thing for that type of game. WildStar upped that chaos without making me feel like I lost control, and it was just totally random. So I gotta kind of give the edge to WildStar, at least right now. Again, we're still a couple months from release, so it could change, but I'm gonna give WildStar the edge over Hotball. You?
I loved Hutball. It's probably the one thing I played, and I hate to say this, it's not a Hutball. In the core
No.
comparative
I'm
that
just
they are
comparing, as far as overall 1 through 10, which is the better PvP. If I could tell you, you got to jump into one right now. I'm gonna turn both games on for you. WildStar, boom, here you go, Justin. Here's your access. Hotball's got new maps right now. WildStar's got its thing going on. Which one are you jumping into right off the top of your head?
Just for some general PvP wise, definitely would have to go with the WildStar's Walatiki Temple. There's just more mechanics to it and more diversity in its play.
Now, based on feedback from the last few betas, though, this map has seen a ton of changes, and you referenced some of them with the side caves and things like that. What else have we seen change here?
Oh, and that was the majority of it for that map. Is like I said, the flattening of the land, the side caves and things, and those 2 opening areas for your spawn points, so you can't be spawn camped. And it just changed like the entire map and how it played.
Yeah, that was a big one when they added the second gate to the spawn room. That was huge. And then more space to run around, and they added a ton of things all over the landscape too to break line of sight. And that was huge because, like you talked about a few months ago, with all the telegraphs in one spot in relatively flat land all around, it was really rough. But now there's plenty of stuff to break line of sight and get away from somebody before you're toast. It's exactly what the map needed in my book. I love the new redesign. I love the way it plays. I love the ability to break line of sight. The second gate at the spawn point was huge, was ridiculously huge. And then all those side caves, that's the shit. That's where I stand, right? That's where I stay. So I don't have to deal with all the stuff in the middle. All in all, they're, again, an example of Carbine listening to the beta feedback and really just going in there and implementing it. They're doing a nice job with this one.
Definitely.
What do you want to see them do going forward with PvP? Obviously, it's very limited in the beta right now. What are you looking for as far as PvP progression down the road?
I want to be able to throw the Tiki Mask next.
In the AMA, they actually talked about gear because this was on everybody's mind. Was how is this going to work? Are you going to have PvP gear and then PvE gear? And how are you going to segregate them? Can you go and do the raiding and stuff and then, use that gear and raffle stomp in PvP because somebody hasn't gotten the corresponding PvP gear? And the answer was no, right? You're not going to be able to do it because of the offense and defensive stats on the PvP gear taking up 50% of the piece of gear's total stat. So you will be, old school, well, even current WoW, well, not so much current WoW, but more old school WoW, where you are maintaining, if you want to be competitive in both, two different sets of gear, right?
Yes, you're going to have to do the top tier stuff, the raiding, the 20-man and 40-man raids. You're going to have to do the ranked arenas and ranked battleground, or not ranked battlegrounds, but the ranked war plots in order to get that top-end gear in either one and be able to participate at high levels.
I don't know. To me, it really doesn't matter because I'm a huge PvE dog, but for the people that are both PvE and PvP, I've always thought that system was a little rough. Where they've got to farm two different avenues just to play the game they want to. If you're one or the other, PvP or PvE, it really doesn't matter. But the people that like to be, I'm going to raid on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then my arena team is going to go Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That makes it a little rough on them. But I don't see how else you could do this the way they're doing PvP in WildStar. I don't see another way that Carbine could have done this without it feeling kind of cheesy that all the gear was obtainable through all different methods, right? There's really no way around what they wanted to accomplish here.
There's not too much way around it, but at the same time I look at it and go, it seems like a lot of work, but if I level up through PvP and spend most of my time in there so that I get my prestige points so I can purchase my PvP gear, then I can get crafted gear that's going to let me entry level into the starting dungeons, and then go through the dungeons and collect the gear like you normally would. I mean, to have to do the dungeons in order to advance through the dungeons, it just seems like it's actually kind of useful.
But then you can't raid with me, Justin, because you're behind. You're behind on the gear, man, and I can't PvP with you because I'm behind on that gear. I mean, it comes with the downside of players that want to do both are going to have... they're going to have more to do.
I think it's more harmful to the PvE players.
Really? How so?
Well, like I just said, the PvP players can just easily... They can spend their whole time PvP and then leveling up and then just compete in those raids, getting some entry-level gear for those raids and stuff and going in. And that's not too difficult. For the PvE player, they're going to play most of their time in PvE. So when they go into PvP, they won't have any prestige or anything. They're going to have to gain up their prestige through constantly playing and getting that. I can go into a raid and get lucky and get a job. Can't you buy the first tier of PvP gear as soon as you hit max level? Let me pull up the post that you had here, the AMA. I thought I saw that you could buy the first tier of PvP gear as soon as you hit max level. With prestige though, so you've had to have played
it's a prestige currency?
Yes, it's a PvP currency called prestige.
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, that makes it a little hard. And someone in chat is asking, "Hey, I missed this. Why do you have to maintain two sets of gear?" So here's the. Let me find the AMA question. Here we go. What will the difference be? This is why you have to maintain two sets of gear. What will the difference be between PvP gear and PvE? Will PvP gear be viable for PvP or for PvE, or will we need to invest in two sets? Carbine said PvP gear uses two PvP stats, PvP defense and PvP offense. Defense reduces the damage you take from other players. Offense penetrates your target's defense. 50% of the item's budget goes to those two stats. Because of this, PvP gear can be used in PvE, but will be at a significant disadvantage, 50% of the stats, compared to veteran quality or raid quality gear. Alternatively, PvE gear can be used in PvP, but will also be at a significant disadvantage compared to the PvP gear. You'll likely want to acquire two sets of gear if you wish to be competitive in both aspects of the game. That's from the AMA on Reddit today. So that's where you're going to be tied up. If you're a player that wants to do both, we're going old school and back to having to get your two sets of gear. And I know WoW has kind of maintained that whole idea, but we all know that there's holes in it, 10 years later. as far as some of there being some crossover. But here, tough. I mean, you can go and do it, but 50% is a hell of a gap. Excuse me. And I got to say, I'm all for it. I think if you want to do PvE, go do PvE, get your veteran and your raid gear and go do your thing. If you want to do PvP, go get your prestige points and go get your gear. And if you want to do both, cool, more power to you, but just realize that you got a lot to do. And maybe that's not a bad thing, right? For an MMO where we're all bitching about content, maybe having a lot more to do on both sides of the spectrum is a good thing. I'm a fan of this mentality. So I like that Carbine has done this. Yeah, and there's no lockouts, so it's a little quicker than
can still play.
Yeah, it's a little quicker than you may be familiar with from WoW because the removal of the lockouts. So all in all, yeah, hey, kudos, a good PvP day for WildStar fans. Tons of info. So you've been doing the betas. I've been doing the betas. If you pre-ordered the game, you're doing the beta weekends. You may have noticed that every day you log into the game between now and launch, you've been getting and will get a mystery box. And Justin and I were playing in Mumble the other day, and one or two people asked, are we still getting mystery boxes? And then some other people were like, what the hell are these mystery boxes? So we had to explain it, break it down to them. That's during the beta weekends and open beta. You'll actually get 3 boxes per day. So here's the big question, Jay. What's in the box, man?
What's in the box? A bunch of shinies and goodies. We get some pretty good stuff. Some XP buffs. They're whatever. Like, they're nice and stuff. They're probably like an hour long. But the really cool things are the unique things. The unique runes, the weapons, the housing items, costumes, and mounts. And then apparently more. Whatever that means. And more.
Whatever more means. And whatever else we can come up with and shove in the box. So really
Fireworks.
Good. Yeah, probably, right? Some really cool potential for some really cool items. And some useful items maybe for new characters too, right? So when you're leveling those alts, you could drop them. This is crazy, Justin. It's almost as if Carbine wants you to play their beta.
That's a crazy thought.
This is strange. It's super smart though, right? It's a nice incentive for players that have been playing in beta to keep playing in beta. And for the ones that just joined beta to log in every beta weekend. Jeremy Gaffney did have to come out and reassure people, though, because living in the free-to-play world that we live in, right? As soon as you see we're getting lock boxes as drops, we're getting treasure boxes as drops, you immediately go, oh, shit. Oh, come on. I'm going to have to buy keys for this now. Right? And that's when everybody was like, oh, crap, you've got to be kidding me. Which, it's a valid concern, right? Because
especially
WildStar,
if it's a sister company.
Right. WildStar is using the whole, yes, it's a sub, but then you can do the cred. And so there is a question of what exactly are they going to do as far as microtransactions and things like that down the road. Oh, my God, is this treasure box one? So Jeremy Gaffney did come out and say, nope, they are not a secret Trojan horse for microtransactions. Very good move. Very good move. It's a crazy marketing ploy, Justin. Are you excited every time you get these? Open them up, see what goodies you got.
Well, I didn't get any while I was playing it. It says they're at launch.
You didn't?
You get them at launch. I don't think you get them right now.
I got a random box this past weekend.
Well, then I just got unlucky because I played these.
Yeah, I got a random one this weekend.
I got my outfits.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I think it was the outfits that I got this past weekend. I was in a MMO stupor this entire weekend, getting ready for trying to push 60 in Diablo to get ready for the expansion pack. Yeah. You're right. So these are, let's see, chat's already doing it. XP buffs scare me that those will be available as a microtransaction.
I foresee
They
them.
Definitely will. There's no doubt about it. Chat is saying you can get a total of 36 of these boxes. So have fun leveling up alts if you want to. You're gonna have a ton of goodies. So it's crazy. Go participate in the beta. Go participate in the beta. Speaking of the beta, how do you get in? How do you get in? How do you get in? Well, you pre-order the game. And if you're watching this show and you haven't done it already, here's where you want to do it. GameBreaker.tv/deals. Really, really cool page. It's going to be the financial ruin of Justin and I, because I've bought about 4 things off of this page in the last week and a half. My wife only knows about 1, so let's keep that between us. You'll notice right over here, WildStar Digital Deluxe pre-order, 20% off. The way this page works is it breaks down all the different offers that are being broadcast through different brick and mortar or online. Green Man Gaming does a lot of them, digital downloads, things like that. So check it out. Just because you may, I don't want to do a digital. Okay, well, go check it out, because the WildStar also has details on retailers that are doing discounts on physical ones, or maybe not a discount, but where you can get it for an extra little perk. So if you don't want to get the digital deluxe and save 20%, you still need to go to the website, because there's multiple ways that you can save on a lot of these things. Elder Scrolls is another one. That's getting ready to wrap up, obviously, later this week as we go into early access on the 30th. Titanfall, I bought this through the GameBreaker site, Titanfall and WildStar. Check it out, GameBreaker.tv/deals. This is an awesome little sponsor for me. I love this. It's good for us to have a sponsor, but then it's also good for our viewers who can save some money on things they were probably going to buy anyway. Check it out, GameBreaker.tv/deals. If you haven't pre-ordered WildStar and you're planning on it, go there, get yourself 20% off. Moving on, big shout out to Lemon King on Reddit, by the way. I'm going to pull up some pictures here, and we're going to... Have you taken a look at this yet, Justin? This is the Epic Gears. The Epic rating gears. Let me pull this up for you guys, because this was a lovely, lovely picture. Let me get this.
Beautiful.
Yep. See, this will teach me not to have it ready in advance. So, 33 images of WildStar Epic and rating sets of gear. Looks a bit like Transformers. Flip through these here. What are you thinking of these? I mean, they all kind of have the same model. These are the Engineer.
What I foresee when I'm looking at these...
The Esper looks awesome. Looks like a big-ass bug.
Some artist sat down for a week and was like, I'm going to play around.
Yep.
And they showed it off, and they're like, let's do that.
Look at the medic. The medic's got like the big sombrero-looking hat. These look pretty cool, though. I mean, the color schemes, the design, and everything. Are we going to have customization over all of this, do you think?
I'm not sure how the colors customization works. I mean, it looks like there's multiple parts. Certain parts maybe you can customize, and certain parts you can't.
Look at this Spell Slinger. Slinger looks like it's got a motorcycle helmet over its head. Oh, yes! There's my Spell Slinger right there. Oh.
The shirtless guy?
I'm going to let Twitch catch up a little bit so Justin can see that, because that is going to be my Spell Slinger right there. I got my big-ass sheriff hat on, my pointy shoulder pads. I got my little cross-hatching on the crotch there. That's my Spell Slinger.
This is from that other game coming in that you play. They're like, hey, let's have something without a shirt.
Oh, no! Here's the red one. The Lightweave set. Yes.
It looks like a pirate version.
I don't care. It looks badass. See, some of the chat doesn't like it. And I admit, I wasn't a fan of the Engineer ones. Like I said, they look like Transformers. I do like the Spell Slinger. The medic, the sombrero's a bit funny looking. Stalker.
Well, and you can mix and match visuals. So people are looking at these like they see something they don't like. Okay, well, if you look at that, your little cowboy hat guy, sheriff hat, and go a few pictures before them, you've got a nice jacket and stuff that you can mix with that.
Well, and that's why I asked about the color scheme, because if I'm playing my Engineer, I don't want to look like the frickin' Transformer thing. I'm not digging that one. I am liking some of the Stalker ones, though. I think the Stalker ones are the best.
Do remember, visual-wise, you don't have to wear your armor type.
Right. Yeah, because I want to almost said transmog, but that's that's a different game.
The wardrobe.
Yeah, the
system.
wardrobe function. Yeah, the warrior's okay. I really like the stalker sets and the spellslinger sets, but the spellslinger sets I only like because they're ridiculous. They're absolutely ridiculous.
Now this does kind of like take the Makari, kind of lose their uniqueness of the robotic feeling, because everyone with their gear gets to have that robotic like look.
What are you guys thinking of the warrior, chat? Let me know what you think of the warrior here, because the warrior's got a very, particularly this set, it's got a very horde feeling to me. It's like very orc. Here's raid 2, raid 3. And then we're back to the robots looks. I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on some of these. Some of them look really awesome. Some of them I really like just because they're absurd. But then there's a few, the engineer ones and even a few of the warrior ones, which I think just kind of, I don't know, they just kind of look generic. Yeah, chat's saying that the warrior kind of looks the best.
I think they went WildStar with this.
They definitely did. I mean, it feels WildStar. But I don't know if I would want to run around in some of these sets. I'm probably going to do a lot of wardrobing, unless it's on my Spellslinger, because then I'm just going to wear that. And even I may take off the pants. Because when I'm raiding, I don't wear the pants. What are you playing, Justin? What's your first character out of the gate here when we open up?
Oh, I was so set in stone with the Spellslinger, and now I am lost and confused.
Why? What happened?
I got to play a Stalker. I hadn't played one all during the beta, and I played one during a PvP match, and it was blissful.
It's blissful.
It was just pure bliss. And I stealthing, stealing the Tiki mask and stuff, and heading back over and scoring points, and it was just like, I lost all confusion on like what I want to play, and now I'm sitting there trying out the warrior again. I want to heal some though, so it's like back at the Spellslinger. But
I want to be the Spellslinger now for gear, but I've been rolling medic. Is the one that I've been playing the most of, and I think that's where I'm going to stay. I really am looking forward to the high pressure healing that I think WildStar can be later in game. At the beginning, it's not very high pressure as long as you can aim. But I think there's going to be chances for more. Now, I have seen people that have been in some of the very high-end content saying, if you can get people to just stack up, healing becomes ridiculous. So I'm hoping some of the mechanics force those types of strategies away, where everybody just stands in a pile and you spam 1, 2, and 3 over and over again. Because I really want healing to be challenging. Redditor, and I'm going to mispronounce this, I apologize. I'm going to do my best. The Infuriae made an interesting post this week about something we were talking about, Farhan and I, last week, and it's definitely worth a read, but it's really long, so I'll give you the too long didn't read version, chat. Traveling, after level 25, traveling in WildStar basically becomes cutscene after cutscene after cutscene, and I don't think there's really any arguing that, is there? I got that same feeling.
It's not even. It wasn't even the cutscenes. It was just loading screens.
Yeah. At some points it was, and it's directly related to what we talked about last week with Farhan making the point that it's continents and space stations and moons, so there are. Not everything is directly connected where you can just run through one thing and into another. Now, his suggestion or her suggestion on Reddit was to introduce some context-appropriate travel arrangements. So here we go. Let's get old school again, Justin. Maybe, running up and waiting to board a ship, kind of like WoW did with their boats. Final Fantasy XI did with their airships. If you never played Final Fantasy XI, and the people in chat are going to agree with me, the ones that have, Justin, there was nothing more just butt-clenching, oh no, than going into the docks in Juneau, seeing the airship sitting there and trying to book it and make it to the door before that thing took off. There was nothing more tense than that moment in Final Fantasy XI. And anybody in chat that's played will agree with me. So I kind of like that there's a schedule, right? The subway will run on time. Mm-hmm. I understand why because you don't want players just standing around. Nobody wants to stand around. But we did it back in the day. Do you miss that, 10-minute wait for a boat, Justin?
I actually do. I do not like the instant travel in games. And I don't care if I am just watching some little scene of it traveling across and we're going to get on a ship and it launches off and goes through space and lands and something like that. It's a nice kind of calm period to give yourself a slight little break before you go on to the next set of killing monsters again.
Well, there are the flight paths that you do have to sit through, right? So we do have those. So you're not, instead of just sitting there waiting on the ground, you're just waiting to watch the travel. I don't know. According to the poster, he said Jeremy Gaffney, he asked Jeremy Gaffney about this whole thing, and he said that it was something they intended to do. So there may be some type of implementation here of either a schedule or a waiting for things. Why not? I mean, you're hitting that old school hammer. Go ahead and just bang it a little further, I guess. So we'll see if anything comes from it. But I'll tell you one thing. It's still not as bad as Star Wars. Still not as bad as waiting for the loading docks in the space docks and the hangars in Star Wars. So I'm okay with it the way it is compared to that. But going forward, I kind of agree with you. I would like to see a little more. Everything runs on a schedule, especially with the Dominion, right? The Dominion seems very schedule-oriented anyway. I can't believe that you want to play Exile. You make me sad, Justin. Why do you want to play Exile?
I want to play as the Mordesh. They've got some dark history going on in what they're doing.
I'll convert you. Mr. Justin Kennedy, thank you for joining me, subbing in for Farhan, who unfortunately got stuck at the airport. JK, you rock. You can follow him at JK Kennedy TV. That's on the Twitters, JK Kennedy TV. Thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure. I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me at MagicMan1, MAGICKMANN1. Obviously, while you're there, make sure you're following GameBreaker TV, keeping it locked and dialed here for all your WildStar information. Head on over to GameBreaker.tv/deals for your free order on WildStar. Get yourself 20% off. Until next time, gang, stay safe. We'll see you out on the servers.